morning. So this will be a video for people with neck pain and lower back pain. So we see this position more and more these days with all the texting and the computer work. The people's heads are going forward. We call this text neck or head forward position. And you can check it out by placing your back up against the wall, and your back is flat against the wall, shoulders are back, and your chin should be level with the floor. If it does this, in order to come back to the wall, you probably are already in the stages of neck forward, but we can correct that. It's all about stretching. In Pilates, we always stretch before we try to strengthen. And so your neck has a curve in it. It would look something like this from the side. It's a natural curve in the neck. It's so that it shocks. If it was straight, you would constantly get shocks through your spine. So it has a little bit of a curve like this. And when you get into head forward position, it sort of goes like that. And those little bones in the neck are compromised. So one thing I would recommend is that you use a towel underneath your head when you're exercising, so that you're not laying like that, but you'll be more in line with the rest of the body and the head will be neutral. So starting with the neck exercises, let's just tilt the head over to the right. And from here, push your left shoulder down to try to stretch this area from here to here. You're supposed to hold each stretch for 90 seconds. And you can do that at home, but we're going to shorten that today. Bring the head up to neutral. Inhale here. And as you exhale, take your head over to the left. Stretching from the ear to the shoulder. You should feel a little bit of a stretch there. And bring it back to the center. And next we're going to drop the chin. Take it over to the right shoulder. And try to stretch again that area from the ear to the neck. You can place your hand up over your head and pull just gently. If you can feel this, you'll probably feel it again later. So be very gentle with it. And release. And bring the head back to neutral. Turn your head to the other side and drop your chin down towards your shoulder. Stretching from the ear to the shoulder. Really push that opposite shoulder down. And make sure that you're still sitting up straight. You can take your arm and pull the head down gently. You can check out if your deodorant's working here. And release the hand and bring the head back to neutral. The next one is to bring your face straight back like there's an invisible hand just pushing right back. And you'll feel a stretch through these muscles here. Holding it for at least 10 seconds. Breathe through it. When your head is in this position, you can easily tilt the head back and look up. And bring it back to the center. And from here, inhale, make sure the head's back. Exhale, just tilt the head forward. And bring it back up. And from here, let's turn our head to the right, like you're looking over your shoulder, and bring your other hand around behind. Grab that hand and pull it a little bit to stretch through the front of the other side of the shoulder. Bring your head back to the center, release the arm, and turn your head to the other side. Take your other hand behind. Take hold of your hand and pull it around to your waist. I have 30% less ability to turn on this side than I do on the other side. Release that. Because I did hair for many years. I was a hairstylist, and I frequently stood with my head like that, which affects your whole body. So the next thing we're going to do is to swing our legs around. And we'll do some figure eights with the head. The nose goes down, over to the side, back, up, around. Nose comes down, over to the side, up, around. And continuing drawing your figure eights. Hear all that crackling in your head. And I would do at least 5 of those. So when I'm going to lay back, I'm going to put my head on this towel here so that my head is level and my chin isn't pointed up toward the ceiling like that. When I walk into a room and I see people lying like this, I know their shoulders are tight, I know their neck is tight, but we can stretch it back out. When you lift your head up to do a roll-up, be careful that you don't push your head straight up this way and try to pull your body up with your head. Instead, lengthen through the back of the neck, pulling your chin down. This is called a head nod. Keep your head in that shape. Lift the chest, looking at your feet. And you should feel the abs working here. And roll back down. So let's try that with the knees bent. Lengthen through the back of the neck. Chin comes down. Keep that shape, that opening here underneath the chin. Lift the chest. Looking at your knees. Staying in that shape, try to bring the chest up as high as you can. And you should really feel the abs working here. Hold that for at least 10 seconds. And come back down, and you can work up to 100 seconds. From here, we're going to come back up to a seated position. We'll stretch the legs out, lift the head and chest, and roll up. And for people that have neck problems, when you do your hundreds, I would prefer that you hold a block or ball between your knees and do it from a sitting position here. You're going to roll halfway back, and you'll feel the abs working here, but you're not compromising your neck. Hands out in front of you, and inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhaling deeply, keep the shoulders relaxed, and exhale. Inhale. Keep the toes on the floor. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale for 50. Inhale. Exhale. If you can't feel anything, you could come back a little bit farther. Inhale. Exhale for 60. Inhale. Keep the shoulders pulled back and down. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Just one more set. Inhale. Exhale. And lean forward and come back up. If you're doing a roll down and you have trouble getting back up, you can use a stretch strap. Place it behind your feet. Squeeze the legs together. And from here, start with a pelvic tilt and start to roll back. Watch that the head isn't going forward. Keep the head in a neutral place. All the way down flat. Again, lengthen through the back of the neck. Chin comes down. Inhale, tighten your lower belly. Exhale, start to come up in that position. And pull on the strap, curl more as you come up, and come back up straight. For people with lower back problems, most of the time we find that people are in a lordosis. That means you're tilting the pelvis forward, and that squeezes these two bones together here. So we want to make sure that your tail goes down and that you're using your abdominals to support your lower back. So laying down on the mat with your legs bent, feet up close to your hips, we're going to do some pelvic tilts. Press your waist flat into the back, into the mat, and lift the tail up slightly. You'll feel your glutes wanting to help here. Drop the tail down and arch the back just a little bit away from the mat, just kind of bringing this waist up away from the floor a little bit and going back and forth very slowly. If you get into your back freezing up, this is the first thing you want to go back to. Imagine a pearl rolling back and forth on your belly. Use your breathing. You exhale as the tail comes up. You always inhale as the back arches. Exhale as the tail comes up. And relax it. Neutral spine. Neutral spine means that your back has just a little bit of distance away from the mat at your waist. When we do something called imprinting, we press the waist down into the floor and bring your ribs a little bit closer to the hips. That's called imprinting. I'm not using the glutes on this. And release it. Now we're going to keep the knees still, only lifting the right hip a couple of inches off the floor. Feel this internally. You won't see much happening on the outside. And then drop your hip down. Inhale and lift the left hip just a couple inches away from the floor and drop it down. And going back and forth like that from one hip to the other. Knees are not moving, legs are not moving, feet are flat on the ground. Keep your shoulders relaxed. And now that pearl is rolling from side to side. Whenever you think about it, bring those lower abdominals in. So they start getting trained. And you'll notice if the hips start to tilt in the wrong direction. And then release. We're going to do some pelvic circles, which is a Pilates exercise that actually came from Feldenkrais, I believe. I'm going to get my arms out of the way so you can see here. So I'm going to lift the right hip. And as I drop the right hip, I'm going to lift the tail up. So my waist is pressing into the floor at this point. I'm going to drop that and just lift the left hip. And then I'm going to arch the back, lifting the waist away from the floor. So here we go, circling around. Right hip up, back is flat against the floor, and tail comes up. Left hip, and arch. Circling around. And then we're going to reverse. Bring the left hip up, tail, right hip, and arch. Left hip, tail, right hip, and arch. Couple more like that. This is to loosen up all of the muscles in the lower back and the pelvis, and this should feel really, really good. And relax. If you're okay with that, feet in close to the hips, I like to touch my middle finger to my heel. Take a deep breath, and I want you to fill your ribs up spreading your ribs in all 4 directions. And then as you exhale, squeeze the ribs back in and the lower belly flattens more. The navel goes to the spine. Inhale and expand the ribs. Exhale and squeeze it shut. Inhale and expand the ribs. Exhale and squeeze it shut. Use every muscle you can to push that air out. And from here, we're going to lift the hips up off the floor in one piece. Just lifting up. Sometimes the articulation can bother that lower back more in the beginning. And we're just going to gently lower the hips back down. Think of everything going up in a straight line. Inhale here. Exhale, lift the hips up. Inhale here. Exhale and lower. Inhale and lift the hips up. Exhale and lower. Let's stretch the legs out, arms up over the head. Inhale, reach the arms up and roll all the way up. So I hope you're doing well at home. This is giving me a chance to get some exercise in. See you all soon.